What's up, everybody? I'm back to bring you another one of my super popular chess set review videos. Just go check out all the hits on my first video. Anyway, today I'm bringing you the St. Petersburg chess series set from Wholesale Chess. As you can see, it's a good looking set. I have 3 sets. This is probably my favorite, although I think it is underweighted, and we'll get into the numbers in a little bit. Alright, so this is the St. Petersburg set. This is in commemoration of the 1895 tournament in St. Petersburg, in which 5 of the top players were invited, and which Emanuel Lasker ended up winning that tournament. So this is a reproduction of that set. Okay, so here are the pieces. Pretty standard looking king here. Let me put it in view here. Pretty standard looking king. What I do like about the king is that the cross up top here is squared, as opposed to the more rectangular look, which I don't like. I don't like it when the cross is proportionally really too big, and it does look too big when it starts to be a rectangle. And it looks like, to me, it looks like a cheat, or to give it height. I mean, you can just keep raising it and say you have a 3 3/4 inch king, when in fact your king is probably like 3 inches, except your cross is 3/4 inches. Okay, so this set is indeed a 3 3/4 inch king, and the base is 1.625. In other words, 1 5/8. Next we have the queen. The queen is your typical looking queen as far as the coronation goes. This ball is becoming pretty standard on the queens. I think I kind of like it without it, but either way, it's a good looking queen. It's got the collars here, the 3 collars, that give it a little bit of an accent and thickness to it. Of course, matching with the king, which I didn't mention. Well, what I really like about this set is the height relationship between the king and the queen. The queen is not getting dwarfed by the king, and that's usually a problem in a lot of chess sets. I have 2 other chess sets in this price range, which is about the $80 to $120 price range. And in those 2 other sets, the queen is definitely too small. But this one, I think, it's not too small, and so it's a good relationship here. And then the queen also bears a relationship into the bishop, and usually those sets also get it wrong, where the bishop and the queen are too close in size. But in this one, obviously, it doesn't. The queen clearly is taller than the bishop. So, relationship-wise, these 3 pieces are, to me, perfect. Okay, so here's the bishop. What I always look for when I buy a chess set, or I just look at a chess set, I like to make sure that the bishop stands out as a different kind of piece than the pawn. I don't like my bishops to look like oversized pawns, and here they're different, right? And part of the reason why they're different is because this king has really a big, elongated, bulbous head. Let's call this the head. It's got a nice little cut, as typical of most bishops, and this cut, if you aren't aware, is supposed to indicate the angle in which a bishop travels, right? So it's kind of an aesthetic working for the bishop here. It's got the ball here to match the queen and king. Well, not the king. Oh yeah, the king. The king also has one. And so I think this piece does look different from the pawn. Now, if I turn it this way where you can't see the cut, and maybe I cover up the ball here, it starts to look suspiciously like a pawn. But of course, that's not all you're getting. You're getting the whole thing with the bishop. The collar, a little beefiness. So the bishop looks different enough from the pawn for me, and I like it. All right, let's move on to the knight. The knight here is your typical L-shaped knight. with the head here parallel to the board, which is kind of unnatural look for a knight. And these pieces just, I mean, they don't look as realistic as they could, obviously, because a knight's head is usually tilted down. And so this has always struck me as a kind of unnatural look. And even for a chess set, I prefer the knights with the head pointing down more. You have that kind of knight from the chess store's Fierce Knight collection. The knight has a tilted head. You have that in the I believe it's in the Zagreb series knights, where you have the Russian knights where their head is pretty much pointed down, and it's pretty much it's a very stylized look, but it works. It works, and I think part of it is because the head is tilted down, and this is an unnatural look. But be that as it may, this is still a good-looking knight. Can't take away anything from the craftsmanship. We get the mane, it's nicely decorated, nicely detailed. You get the ears pinned back with the holes in the ears. You get the eyeballs and the little hole for the eyeball. You get the teeth, and it looks like, obviously they're not completely separate, but they have little lines separating the teeth. The nostrils come in clearly. You got the little divots to add some accent around the body. And same thing with the jaw. You got, little divots and accent marks. And all in all, I think this is a good-looking knight. I can't take away anything from this knight other than I don't like the posture of it. But it fits well with this set. So, not my favorite kind of knight, but I'm not really going to take anything away from this set because of this knight. And you might like it. You might prefer it. I don't know. As far as height relationship goes, it's about the right size. It looks the bishop and the knight are valued about 3 each, so it's about right. All right, let's move on to the rook. And the rook is always my number one concern with a chess set. I don't like undersized rooks. And of course, I think undersized rooks are rooks that come close in size to pawns, and this one doesn't. This one gets the relationship, I think, right. So this is one of the reasons why this set is my favorite set. The rook is not small. It's not thin here. It doesn't have too much flare going out up top. The cuts on the crenellations here, which are these like holes, are not too deep, and you'll see that in some sets, and it gives it kind of like a blossoming flower look, kind of like it's on fire look, and I don't like that look. I like a nice sturdy, like rock solid look to the rook, and I think this achieves that. And I never liked when the rook looks undersized next to the knight and the bishop. And this one doesn't. It's a little bit smaller, but that's fine. But the most important part is it doesn't look anywhere near in size to the pawn. Okay. So, and finally we have the pawn. The pawn is your typical pawn. The only thing that you worry about a pawn is that this part underneath the collar isn't too thin. And I think this one is just about right. It's not too thin, but if it were any thinner, I would say it's too thin. So it's kind of like walking the line here. It's got a nice big head here. It's got a really accented collar, given the size of the piece. And so it's not a tiny little brittle pawn. And it fits in well with the set. So piece by piece, to me this set is just about perfection. The only thing I would change is maybe the style of the knight, but that's just my personal preference. One thing I don't like on this set, and it's not a big deal, is the base. The base is, and I'm starting to see this more on chess sets. The base here, on the bottom, the footing here, you can see it sticks out beyond the upper part of the base here. And this is actually what makes this base 1.625. This part adds the 1/8 difference. Otherwise, this would be a 1.5 inch base for this king. And what I don't like about it is that it doesn't look grounded. The piece doesn't look grounded on the board. And because you have the tapered cut underneath, the beveled cut going upwards, you get a little bit of shadow underneath there, and the piece also adding to the fact that it's cut a certain way. the shadow makes it look like it's kind of like floating on the board, and that's a cool thing. But I don't like that look for my chess set. So I really wish that the bottom footing was the equal size or equal in diameter to the upper part of the base here. But that's a minor quip, or that's a minor quibble. And again, you might not care, or you might like it. Again, so I'm presenting the pieces for you so you can make up your own mind. And I'm just giving you my thoughts as we go along here. Okay, and by the way, this set is, this board that it's on right now is 1 1/8. The squares are 1 1/8, meaning that I have at least a 1/4 inch on each side of the king. And to me, that's what you need. You need a minimum of at least an extra 1/2 inch for the square size with respect to the king's diameter size. So if the king is 1 1/2 inches, you want at least a 2-inch square board. And you might even want to go an eighth bigger. So even if your king's base is 1 1/2 inches, you might want to go a 2 1/8. I think 2 1/4 might be a little big, but more space is better than less space. You don't want a crowded board. And so this set with the base of 1 5/8, and so I have a square of 2 1/8, which is exactly a 1/2 inch difference, and it looks right. And again, I'll show you the little test that I saw online, such that when when the queen and the king are lined up this way, and let me center those so I don't get a cheat here. The bishop should travel through them easily, or without touching, and kind of easily, right? So and it does. And so I think this board is the right size. I also got this board from Wholesale Chess, by the way. I think I paid $80 for the board, but I didn't get it when I got this set, which I should have. I probably would have saved a few bucks. But it's a nice board. Maybe we'll go into a review of boards later. I have a couple of boards. Okay, so back to the set. The problem with this set is that despite its size, despite its 3 3/4 inch size, the king is only coming in at 1.87 ounces. That's roughly in accordance with what you would with what a weighted, just weighted, not double weighted, not triple weighted, just a weighted chess set would be. And that's a little, and that's not a little. That's underweighted. It's too light. It's still not gonna topple over. It's still got a little bit of buoyancy. I don't know if buoyancy is the right word, but it's you see that you can tilt it. So even if you knock it, you're not really going to knock it over, but it doesn't give you that like pull me back down to earth feel when you pick it up, and so you would really want this chess set double weighted. Wholesale Chess, you really should make this entire set double weighted, if not triple weighted. Triple weighted would be glorious, right? But I do want to say that even though the king is 1.87, the queen is kind of not as light as you would expect, and the knight is also not as light as you would expect relative to the size of the king. So the weights are kind of jumping around from piece to piece as far as what you'd expect. Really heavy, a little less heavy, but it doesn't work that way. Where the knight is heavier than the bishop and the rook. And the queen is kind of close in weight to the king, which usually it's not as close as you're getting in this set. Sorry, I don't have the numbers for you, but I'll do that in another review when I do a comparison review with my 3 sets. Okay, so now let's talk about this particular set that I got as far as quality control from Wholesale Chess. I'm very happy to report that there's no discrepancies with this set. I found nothing, no blemishes with this set. There's no chips. There's no cracking of the base. I had that in my other set, one of my other sets, and I had a chipped king in my other set. The knights, nice and stuck. I had one separate from my other set. It's not broken, but it comes loose way too quickly or too easily. So the quality control in this set, perfect. Wholesale Chess, you did a great job as far as quality control. And while I'm at it, let me put in front and center here The black pieces, I didn't mention this, I should have mentioned it already, is that this is the lower end set where the white pieces are boxwood, and the black pieces are also boxwood, but it's ebonized boxwood, so they just blacken the boxwood. And they did a good job. I don't see any enamel cracking, which I've seen in my other set. And only on one piece, to be fair. But so this is nice and smooth. All the detail shows through on the Black Knight. It's pretty evenly. The coating is evenly done. So good job on the black pieces. Good job on the ebonizing process. And also on the wood here, on the white one, it's got like an alabaster look to it, which is really nice. It's darker than my other pieces. And all my sets, all three of my sets are boxwood and ebonized boxwood, and this one has a darker hue to it, which really gives it a nice look. Okay, I think that's about it. I don't know if I have anything to add to this review. This is for $80. This is well worth it. If they would add more weight to the set, that would be even better. But as it is, I like the set, and it looks great on this board here that I got from Wholesale Chess also. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Any comments? Leave it in the comment section. Later.